Most people aren't ever going to be greatly successful. Chances are you're sitting here watching this either from your parents' home or an average to below average apartment. Maybe you've reached a point in your life where you've made a commitment to a house, but that millionaire mansion is still far beyond your grasp. You, I, and little Timmy down the street will probably amount to shit when it comes to the greater picture of society. So how do we cope with the fact that in just a few short generations our names will be forever forgotten until someone looks up their ancestry and passes over our names with the goal being that they want to prove that they're 132nd Apache, only have to settle for being 164th Lenape instead? Well, that answer is simple. Gorge ourselves on copious amounts of escapist entertainment. You want to watch a badass dude kick the shit out of terrorists? Here you go. How about somebody who starts off as a scrawny normal dude who you can relate to that eventually becomes a badass dude that can kick the shit out of terrorists? Maybe you want a guy who doesn't play by the rules and gets the job done. Whatever flavor of protagonist you prefer, chances are you can find some movie, show, or performance art piece that can provide someone you can latch yourself onto. So you get to experience something that you will never have the chance to. But what if you aren't necessarily looking for escapism? What if you're looking for something that grounds you in whatever is going on in your life and helps you better cope with the experience? A character whose struggles aren't fighting off demons or superpowered villains, but rather the fact that being a normal person and all the baggage that comes with it sucks. With all that said, the character I wanted to talk about in this video is Jill from the game Valhalla. It's spelled VA-11 Hall A. I'm just gonna fucking call it Valhalla. Jill is a bartender in the seedy cyberpunk glitch city in the year 20 go fuck yourself. It's a world populated by futuristic knights who defend the city as part of a private security force, cat girls who have gained their appearance because of life-saving surgery that has become a fad, robots called Lilim who have integrated into society as everything from sex workers to pop idols, and even talking dogs. Glitch City itself is an interesting world that is different from ours in a lot of big ways, but ultimately all that neon lighting can't hide a lot of the similarities. Jill is essentially what would happen if the guy who served Rick Deckard noodles in Blade Runner was a white female bartender. That analogy was pretty good, right? I wrote it myself. Got a story about his life. As in, Valhalla is about someone who has an uninteresting career that allows them to meet interesting people, but ultimately the things that go on in their normal lives are often the same shit that most people deal with. Paying bills is essentially Jill's worst enemy throughout most of the game. When she isn't working, she spends time sitting around her apartment reading articles, going on message boards, and playing games. Aww, she even has a cat named Foray who she talks to. If only I had a cat to make the pain go away. Please make it go away. Despite being our main character and living in this cool setting, her life is essentially not different from most of us, aside from being friends with a bunch of waifus and gay Kaneda. Part of why Jill and other characters feel so well realized is the process that the people at Sukaban Games used to create and develop them. In an interview with Killscreen, the developers said that for each character they created an assortment of different details about them and their tastes. While by the end, 70% of those traits wouldn't show themselves in the actual game, it allowed them to really make the characters feel more like people. Small stuff like Jill being allergic to shrimp or taking violin lessons until she was 16 makes her feel more like an actual person than if she was just simply a bartender who talked to people. Just like how knowing that if you Google my name, you'll find a fanfiction account that I can't delete because God hates me, makes you relate to me better as a human being, right? Right? It also helps that Jill's life is a reflection of how many young adults are living their lives today. Back in the 1950s, the median age for a guy getting married was 22.8 years old, and the median age for a woman was less, at a mere 20.3 years old. Essentially, if you were a girl, you'd graduate high school and practically move right on to having a family life, with a white picket fence, church on Sundays, and a seething hatred for communists.
People who guarantee freedom by standing ready to fight against aggression, against the communist attempts at world enslavement.
That means that by Jill's age, someone would have been expected to be married for 7 years. However, these numbers have since changed significantly. Since the 1950s, there's been a 7-year increase in the median age for marriage for both males and females. Just between the years 2010 and 2015, there's already been a 1-year increase. Today, people are more worried about committing to relationships or stable careers to support those relationships. This fear of commitment is something that forms up her backstory and sets up the climax of Valhalla. When Jill was in college, she invested a lot of time into her studies, and eventually fell in love with a girl named Lenore. When Jill eventually graduated, she panicked at the idea that all of her work would just be to work the same job for years until she retired. This resulted in a disagreement with Lenore, who wanted her to get a job to support them in moving forward with their relationship, leading to Jill running away from her job opportunities and the person she cared about. There's a sense of freedom with being an underachiever. Jill chose to leave a stable life behind for a low-paying, shitty job in a bar that's constantly under threat of being closed. But something about that felt better at the time than having her life planned out for her. Many people are either dropping out of college or doing nothing with their degrees nowadays. Like Jill, a lot of people chose to pick a shitty, unstable life over a normal one. So many that shitty has become the new normal. The new picket fence, while a stable life has become something that requires going out on a limb. This decision ultimately comes back to bite her when she is reunited with Lenore's sister, Gabby, who tells her that, well, she died. This is what happens when, after all the running away, her decision to not settle down shows its worst consequences. All the terrible stuff mentioned before is one thing, but to lose the chance to be with someone you care about, and to have someone else you care about look you in the face and tell you how badly you fucked up, is a whole other level of bad. Interestingly enough, this event was foreshadowed in the game's promotional art, where you can see Gabby's scarf behind Jill. While this is an important and painful moment in her life, the game does a great job at establishing how her storyline is just a tiny part of a massive city full of people. In the previous interview, Sukaban stated that their intention was to make the players feel small. The events that make up Jill's life will go unnoticed by the people she crosses in the street, and for the many people she serves, she won't be there to take a part in their trials and tribulations. Take, for example, Sei, part of the security force known as the White Knights. At one point in the story, Sei gets caught up in a bank holdup that goes on for 3 whole days, and is followed up by a riot involving the White Knights and citizens killing each other in the streets. During all of this, Jill can only get worried about her and wait for everything to blow over. Once she sees her again after everything that has happened, you truly see how little you and Jill can really change the world. Sei going through that experience is something she couldn't do anything about, and while Jill acts as a friend and gives her words of advice, ultimately her process of recovering from PTSD is something that is in Sei and her best friend Stella's hands, not hers. The most the player and Jill can do is be a friend and hope that it works out. Compare this to Papers, Please, a game where you play a small role in a corrupt society and have to make money to get by. That seems awfully familiar. Despite both games having a similar concept, both handle the concept of impact differently. In Papers, Please, even though you're just some guy who has to constantly deal with people not giving the right documentation, I don't care if you'll die, you should have thought about that before wasting my fucking time, you still have the opportunity to help rebels overthrow the government. If you're a dirty traitor to Austex, I am looking at you, you dirty traitor! Meanwhile, in Valhalla, there is no big conspiracy to get caught up in. The closest you usually get to the terrorist groups or the corporate government corruption is reading about it in the news, and then going to work like any other normal person. Jill is a fuck-up who puts all her potential and passion into a job that she knows she probably won't even have anymore once the bar gets shut down. As said before, she represents a lifestyle that is currently defining a generation of young people. And while many would look at this as society degrading and the millennials leading it downhill, it isn't entirely awful. Despite all the terrible things I've said about Jill's life and the lives of young Americans, there's still some good things that make it all worth it. While you might not control the lives around you, you can still be good friends to those you care about and be there for them when you can. In return, you also have people who care about you to be there by your side. Maybe it's existential depression. Maybe it's a need to vent. Maybe it's talking about stuff you regret. As sappy as it sounds, and god damn does it sound sappy, as long as you get a good network of friends, you'll get people to help you through the tough times. Even if you completely fail the game and can't pay rent, instead of being locked up for delinquency, Jill moves in with one of her friends. And while it's embarrassing, it comes off as more of a humorous inconvenience rather than a catastrophic failure. When you screw up, there might be people who can help you get back up on your feet. Even with the good ending, the bar still closes down and Jill needs to find a new job, but it isn't that big a deal. When things don't work out, Jill will continue with life, just like we will. As for Jill having to come to terms with her past, she eventually plans to meet Gabby to discuss everything. While I was playing, I couldn't help but feel some sort of dread coming towards me as the meeting came closer and closer. I'm having way too much fun with these characters. As you know, the law of thermodramatics states that things have to go horribly wrong if everything's currently happy. Then the big day came, and Jill and Gabby just talk it out. After all the worrying, everything worked out between the two, and they managed to repair their broken relationship. The game successfully gave me that same irrational fear that Jill had going into the ending, when all that was needed was the courage to go through with burying the hatchet. Jill's story is something that can connect with a lot of people. We see our flaws and our incapability in her. At the same time, her interactions with her friends show us something that drives us forward, even when we feel like we're completely worthless. None of us will be able to be Guts as he fights off demonic hordes in a quest for revenge. Let's be honest though, is that really a bad thing? Instead, a lot of us will be Jill, a girl who works at a dead-end job, going from paycheck to paycheck and regretting some life decisions. But I guess it could be worse. Dorothy is best girl though, and if you disagree, kill yourself.
All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. Just do it now, lick it good. Suck this pussy just like you should. Right now, lick it good. Suck this pussy just like you should. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack.
Just fuck off. Why are you still here? Just leave. Fuck off. Just fuck off.